Hi Collective, thanks for joining me here today, and trust that if this message found you, it's in alignment, and as always, take what resonates and leave what doesn't. I've been getting a lot coming through today about the divine feminine. Obviously that's in all of us, men and women. It's our feminine energy. It's how we rest, surrender, go with the flow in the human beingness, not the human doing, which goes against everything we've been conditioned to be and to do in society, which is to strive and achieve and earn and reach for external validation. And we're really at this turning point in society. I keep getting that it's about really knowing our sovereign worth, our sovereign power, and not seeking external validation anymore. Giving yourself the validation you need, asking ourselves why we invest in certain things. Why do we buy, whatever it is, the makeup, the house, the sofa, the podcast, I don't know, anything that we invest in financially or energetically, even like card readings or whatever it is. What are we hoping to get out of that? Because that holds the key to understanding yourself. Ask yourself why you're investing even your time and energy, even in any reading. Why are you investing your time in something, and what is under the surface of that, and how can you give that to yourself? And obviously life is about experiencing the bliss and the challenges and embracing all of it and learning to surrender to the flow and learn from it all. Really, we came here to be humans, to experience I can go on and on about it, but the great depths of what it is to be human. But we are already innately worthy and enough, and I get this coming through a lot. It's just that you were born with everything you need to be you, and you're never meant to be somebody else. So as we get older and obviously conditioned with layers of societal things that we have to try and unlearn, it's like, how can we peel back those layers and figure out who we are on the inside and what we were born to bring to this planet? And so, yeah, I've been just hearing a lot of women recently. I'm sure men too are going through this, but the women in the circles I've been connecting with have been saying how a lot are unemployed and feeling that kind of frustration at the system and not wanting to work and be part of the system anymore. But obviously, we're all human beings living in this 3D reality. So, how to embrace our divinity in the humanness of the world? It's anthropos, being fully human, fully divine at the same time, embodied. And not what a lot of them are saying, like, they just don't want to, they don't fit into systems anymore, and they were never born to fit in. You were never born to fit in. And yeah, that kind of, it could be any age, but a lot of people in their 30s, 40s, just, used to be, I guess, midlife crises. But all my life I've been saying, I think I and many others have been going through a quarter life crisis when I was younger. And, it's just constant layers of awakening, really, is what it is. It's understanding a bigger consciousness and our purpose in the world and why we're here. And as within, so without, and the energy of the world and the symbolism we see in our day-to-day reality reflected back to us, it's not coincidental, it's there for a reason. And yeah, it can get heady if we get into too much of it, because really we are here to be embodied and human, like to embrace the sacredness in the everyday mundane moments, and how to get out of the mind of thinking they're mundane and see them as sacred and be grateful for everything. And you and we're all forgiven for blipping out of those moments into unconsciousness and just being present. That's what we're meant to be doing, being present. But yeah, I feel like many feminines have been struggling with that, the masculine energy, the urge to push and do, but not wanting to do it in the old way that we used to do it. Like, the whole thing of needing money to have as a resource, money is energy. So to go out in the world and exchange and to experience things, but not wanting to earn it or receive it in a way that's not in alignment anymore. That we are surpassing that. And, we have the justice card. So it is balancing out. The feminine has been balancing out not just our light and dark, the shadow, but how to surrender to the feminine and what that really means for our masculine energy, and what our masculine energy does with itself when we are in those moments of flow. It's often a battle of the ego and the soul self. Our higher self knows that to rest and surrender and not be doing is a great thing. We're learning a lot in whatever moments we're called to be in, but our ego is wanting to fill every moment and prove ourselves and tick 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 all the boxes for the day, that we've done enough and we are enough and we've achieved all these things. And how often do you find yourself creating a narrative to explain to others, like, oh, all the things that you did at the weekend, or all the things you did in the week, to make yourself feel worthy and good enough? And what if we remove that narrative, that you don't have to explain yourself to anybody? What if nobody's listening? What if people are listening but not really caring because everyone's living their own life? who would we be without the external gaze, without the narratives and the words and the stories we tell others, and most importantly ourselves? We'd just be who we are, and that would ironically invite more of our people, more of our soul tribe to us, because we're being who we're meant to be, our soul embodied. So how can you step into this, I want to say, light version of yourself? And that's not to negate the shadow at all, because shadow work is really important in integrating that. But how can we step into the embodied light of our being, of ourself, and try and get out of the concerns and worries of the mind? I'm just hearing a crown chakra integration recalibration. So it's the light codes that come in through the crown into the higher heart, the seat of the soul, into our body to be embodied. And it's how to integrate and be a human with our soul essence, our energy. It's kind of like this, bringing the light into the material, the 3D realm, and balancing everything out so that you feel safe and secure. The root chakra feels grounded, but your heart, your higher heart, and your crown, your soul self feels satisfied, fulfilled, embodied, so that it's not jumping or trying to leave. I went through my Kundalini awakening a few years back, and obviously it takes its time, it's still ongoing at different moments, but the only answer really is just to surrender what's going on. It can be scary at times, and you just got to let the energy, the pure life force, work through the blockages and the restrictions. And I'm mentioning that for a reason, because maybe somebody here is going through Kundalini awakening, and do reach out if you need any support. And there are a lot of resources out there. Sadly, there's a lot of fear around it as well on, online platforms. And it really isn't something to be feared, because your Kundalini is your life force energy. You don't need to be scared of yourself. And if you are scared of yourself, that's just an invitation to do some inner work on that, and how to find safety within ourselves. That was a lot of it was about for me, is finding that inner safety, to be within myself, in my body, and therefore in the world. So yeah, if that's resonating, let me know down below. But I'm really getting that strongly for somebody about Kundalini awakening and integrating the shadow side of that, which is working through blockages and accepting. A lot of it is about acceptance of who and what we are, and accepting sometimes of the pain and the scary, uncomfortable feelings we're going through. Like, we don't have to glaze over that. Like, it's really important to sit with it, and like soar, surrender, observe, allow, release, like Luna and Soul talk about. And I wrote a poem about it. It's just sit with it, whatever the feeling is. I'm not reciting the poem right now, but it's just the general vibe of it is like, sit with it on a plane, sit with it on a train, sit with it in the car, sit with it at the theatres, sit with it at the shop, sit with it in a restaurant, sit with it with your best friends, sit with it when you're crying, sit with it when you're angry. Sit with whatever is there for you and accept it. And that is the biggest gift you can give yourself today or any day, because then you're completely accepting all parts of yourself, all your feelings, all your shadows, bringing them to the light, allowing them to be seen, to the point where there would be no shadow. Because the more we accept and embrace all parts of ourselves, we integrate it into the light, into our light being. And as we're all ascending on the planet right now, sorry, throat clearing, we're stepping into our voice, our truest expression of who we are, and we have to work through and accept that shadow self stuff in order to be who we are, to work through any blockages, anything that's preventing us from expressing ourselves in the way that we're meant to express ourselves. I'm getting, for some of you, study. So it's kind of like this Page of Swords in reverse, walking a tightrope. There's like, again, this balance, finding the balance between material and spiritual, between the old you and the new you, who you are under the layers. The old you really is the new you, in terms of, that sounds a bit trippy, but the old you, who you were as a child, sometimes is the closest version to your truest, higher self, because it wasn't conditioned by family and society, whatever. But yeah, study, reading books, getting ideas, like all these light bulbs. You have brilliant ideas, I'm hearing, and you need to start trusting in yourself. You wouldn't be given those ideas, those downloads, if you weren't worthy of bringing them and birthing them into the world. So really trust your essence, your light bulbs, your ideas, and bring them, ground them. I'm hearing that. So it's okay to be in this in-between, this liminal stage between different places in your life, and to embrace this liminal space. This is where the ideas come from, not to try and force them into grounded action before they're fully formed, like seeds and plants. You've got to give them time to grow, to fully, you're reaching the end of this transition. But just let yourself sit in whatever you're going through in this in-between phase. And yeah, study books, fairy tales, escapism, I'm hearing, but also writing books, poetry and studying. If it's picking something that's more aligned for you, trust that. Trust your intuition. Nobody else knows what's right for you other than you. So really trust yourself in this phase. There's a lot of light energy swirling around you at the moment. Birds may be significant as signs. Spirit guides, I'm hearing, are watching over you. You've got this. It's like your feminine, I'm hearing, is has tried too long to be like a man, to keep it all together, to put a narrative on it that makes sense to other people, to over explain yourself, to over give. And it's like now you're really stepping into this time, or you may have been for some time, this liminal space of like hermitage, but I'm hearing coming out of this but the time of putting yourself first, calling back your energy, not giving away yourself unnecessarily to others, especially others that don't appreciate it. Like your energy is sacred, and it's time you start seeing that and recognizing your worth and being embodied and feminine in a way that suits you. And obviously I'm saying that because I'm talking about the divine feminine. We need to embrace our divine masculine energy too. That has a place, and the masculine in the world is going through massive shift and upheaval right now and finding its place. But I am being called more specifically at the moment in this reading to talk about the feminine and the balance that we're finding within ourselves, to trust ourselves and go with the flow and embrace and surrender who and what and where we are, and let it be what it is. You don't have to box it or package it or narrate it differently for somebody else. Temperance, again, a card of balance in reverse. So it's like you're coming into balance. Things are just moving around, the planets, the universe, everything that's kind of swirling around. Your universe is, I'm hearing something about control. So I feel like for a long time you've been trying to attempt to control the uncontrollable. I'm hearing the things that feel scary and unsafe. You've been trying to control that, but true safety comes from learning how to surrender and know that you're safe no matter what, having faith in yourself and the universe. Your guides and the universe is around you and with you all the time. So how can you trust and step into that safety, surrender to that, knowing that inner gnosis that you're always safe? What would you do if you knew you were safe, if you knew that you couldn't fail? I mean, failure is an illusion anyway, because you try, you fail, you try, you fail. The only true failure is when you stop trying. That's a quote. But there is no failure, there's only lessons anyway. So I just channeled that. I don't know quite what I said, but what was I saying? Anyway, it'll come back if it needs to. We have 10 of Wands in reverse. So transition, stepping over the final hurdles, moving. You may be moving house, wanting to move, feeling like you've outgrown current circumstances and not quite. This is a very common theme as well right now with feminines, not knowing necessarily where you're going or what's coming in, but trusting it and going with the flow anyway. It will all will be revealed in divine timing. Trust. That's what I just heard. But yeah, you've walked up this mountain and you're on the way back down. You've been running up that hill, Kate Bush. There's been a lot of trauma and working through trauma and healing from that, and integration and understanding yourself fully from past events, I'm hearing. So really pat yourself on the back, 'cause you've come so far. Goddess in training, I just heard. And there's like abundance, the symbol of the cow, Hatha, ancient Egyptian magic. And yeah, speaking of magic, we have the 9 of Pentacles here. So witchcraft, ancient witchcraft, maybe past lives in ancient Egypt resonate with you. I'm getting something about Egyptian symbols for you, whoever this is for. Paying attention to the symbols that are all around you and working with what you've got to create your own magic elixir. Like I said before, your magic is inside you, but your external reality and the materials can contribute to this. So really working with what you've got. It's easy to look for what's missing, but what have you got and how can you create with these things? And then, as I said before, it's kind of been this crossing this platform, this liminal space, but we've got the 4 of Swords. Like I said, things aren't fully coming in yet. It's still a time of rest and surrender. And this is the divine feminine, like you're protecting your sacred heart. The red thread, the rose thread, I'm hearing. Yeah, divine feminine rose thread, this ancient lineage of priestesses and goddesses, ancient Samaria. And like, you may have had lifetimes, many lifetimes, I'm hearing, of soul experiences working with the goddess, embodying the goddess energy, being a priestess, initiation rites, I'm hearing. And so trusting in your magic. I'm just seeing a feather. I have goosebumps. Trusting in your magic I feel like that's all I need to say, because you get the message. The signs are everywhere for that. You'll know what that means to you and what your magic is, so trust in that, and just keep getting, like, don't listen to what other people are telling you. Their words are not what necessarily, their words are not what you need to hear. If anything, it's a test and a lesson for you to come back to your own knowing and trust in yourself and your sovereign gnosis for yourself. And finally, in this reading, we have the Empress, and that's left to right, where you're headed, where you are. This, like I said, this liminal stage, this birthing space, this waiting stage to the next period of your life. It could be physical pregnancies, but also just the abundant, fertile new beginnings, of creative new beginnings and stages in your life. This moving period. We've got water, which is, you know, the watery emotions of the mother, the divine feminine, of surrendering and flow, and things coming to the surface, to light, to be healed. The world, the globe. I'm just getting the image of the recent trip around the moon. I'm not going too much into that, but the images I'm getting in my mind's eye is the you know, the astronauts are talking about the Earth from space, and how not necessarily insignificant it looked, but how small it looked, how much light there was compared to the big black universe around it. And black is not always a bad thing, obviously. It's the void, it's the fertile void, but how much light there was, they were saying, and how connected and interconnected we all are. There's something in that about learning from others, even if we're not taking their words for ourselves as truth. It's recognizing that there's lessons everywhere, and it's so easy for us, isn't it, to, without preaching, but to see the differences in each other rather than the similarities. And if this is connected to anywhere in your life right now, where somebody's annoying you, or family members, or it's just triggering something within you and you're trying to move past it and it keeps coming up, it's kind of like, why is that in your energy? Why is that coming up? And how can you accept that difference and that shadow, or whatever it is, in them and in you, and see where you are similar, maybe, even if it's just in our humanness and the light that we have in our souls and our collective consciousness. I don't know why I'm getting that, but that's what I heard just then. Take it as it resonates. And yeah, the moon energy, the light of the moon. Here's you, like, between the earth and the moon, kind of like, you know, everything's connected, like with microcosm, macrocosm. So the astronauts that just went from earth to the moon, they went between and around, and here's you, the collective energy, the divine feminine, between these spaces. The moon is, you know, the shadow, the intuitive, deeply feminine, intuitive guidance, wisdom, and the watery Mother Earth, Mother Gaia, grounded energy. And kind of just liminally, yeah, like the Four of Swords, resting between these two places, waiting for the ideas to come that we had in the Page of Swords card. Ideas, the water, the flow, it's all there. It's just trusting yourself and where you are and your surroundings. I'm hearing your surroundings and your nature is very important right now. Connect with the energy of where you are, and wherever you are, let me know in the comments down below if we're all connecting to the earth, Mother Earth, and the feminine in the earth. Where we are, we're connecting a global web, because if we're all doing that and we're all connected, even in hearing this message or in any other message that connects, we're connecting this like spider web of energy, which is what we all are on earth, really. We're all interconnected, we're all interwoven, and it's aligning and alighting Mother Earth, I'm hearing, and in doing so, integrating yourself and your light within yourself. We need the energy of Mother Earth to ground ourselves, and in that, it also brings ourselves to life, because we feel grounded, therefore we feel safe, our root chakras balanced, and we feel safe to express and be who we truly are, who we came to be. And again, it connects with the crown chakra, the alignment, the light, the divine embodiment of our soul self, our soul purpose. Yeah, and sorry, there was a card that I forgot to mention, but obviously everything happens for a reason, so it wanted to be left to the end, which is interesting. We have the Emperor card, and obviously I've just spoke about the Empress, and I said it was the feminine. I said this reading was leaning towards the feminine, but obviously it's a bit about balance, and you can't have one without the other, feminine without the masculine. So we have the Emperor here, which is within all of us, masculine men and women, and the masculine is also kind of sitting at the moment, integrating, wondering, like kind of observing everything right now. Your masculine energy is observing what's going on. The masculine in the world is integrating and figuring out the next steps. It's death and rebirth from this school. So it's kind of like death of the old ways of being, old versions of self, but not being sure who it is now and how to move forwards, where to put the next chess piece in the game. It's kind of like the masculine's been living life kind of unconsciously and sitting back now and kind of being like, oh, I am conscious of where I'm placing this piece, my decisions in the world, in the universe, and where should I place this next? The light is there. The masculine is being guided by the light on where it's going next and how to integrate the shadow, getting Mars energy, masculine energy, war energy. The shadow side of humanity, the war, has been coming to light, coming to surface so that the light can reach it. If it's beneath the surface, it can't be transmuted into light. I just heard all of that, so which makes a lot of sense. You know, everybody at times asks, why do we go through this? If there's a God, if there's source, why do we go through these things? And obviously everyone's got their own version of that, and I'm not here to say what I personally think. I'm just channeling, but I think okay, I will say what I think, that you can't have one without the other, light without the dark. They're just words and labels. Call them what you want. It's kind of like one experience brings it up so that you can experience something and therefore experience the opposite of that. If there wasn't suffering, how would you know what bliss and peace feels like? And that's not to say that suffering will last forever. I think we're going through this collective awakening and purging right now, the shifts, the wars, to, you know, shine a light on it, to transmute it, to live a better way of being in the world with less trauma and less hidden shadows, because it's being purged. Feel it to heal it. It's a collective global feel it to heal it. Everything's coming up, and it doesn't mean, don't fall into the narratives that media and people project out of fear of like, oh no, it's getting worse, because clear cut to release, it's not getting worse, it's getting better. It's like when you tidy a room, sometimes things have to get messier before they get cleaner. You have to pull everything out in order to tidy it away and get rid of some stuff you don't need. Same with when you're ill, like you retch and purge things that your system doesn't need anymore, and then you replenish yourself, you detoxify, you take water and nutrients in, nourishing things. So it's kind of like that. It's the imagery I'm getting, solar plexus, and also, so this is very much the rooted. Masculine's been doing a lot of obviously 3D work, but it's the root, the sacral, the solar plexus, the power centers, the grounded energies. And the feminine has been in the higher chakras, I'm hearing, working and integrating that so that we can almost meet in the middle. Our masculine and feminine can meet and surrender in the human body of where we're meant to be at this time, balanced. And we're getting there. We've crossed massive hurdle, massive bridge, I've just heard. But yeah, the thing with war is, you know, it's, as humans, part of the human condition is suffering, but it's also, we can choose our perspectives, and we can choose to see the light and the gratitude in all situations. And even in any horrific situations, it's not necessarily saying, oh yeah, I'm really grateful for this. It's just saying it makes us appreciate what we do have and the good in the world. And war and arguments highlight not only our differences, but eventually I'm hoping it's going to start highlighting our similarities. And look at where we are in society right now. Everyone points the finger of blame. Oh, they triggered me, they upset me, but it's because they said this and they said this and they're wrong for this. And everyone's valid in their opinion and experience, and we're at this massive like clashing point of all of this stuff. But I think we're labeling everything to the point where, while that's good and it helps us understand, it's very much in the head, and we have to come into the heart, the feeling, the being, the humanness of existence. So we'll label everything, I think, to the point where nothing can be labeled, because we all see the oneness of everything, that we are all ultimately the same, no matter the labels, whatever. Like, I think we are going through this in order to get to that. And yeah, I'm going to leave that there because it can get quite heady, and that wasn't the purpose of this message, but what came through, I trust in that. And yeah, just take what resonates with you. Let me know what you're going through, what's resonated with you, how you're feeling at the moment, if you've been in a liminal transition stage, and how you've been dealing with that and surrendering to that, more importantly. Also, again, getting the symbol of the Ankh and Egyptian connections, but I'm getting the imagery of how them putting the Ankhs in the forget the word, in Egyptian graves, and the symbol being very important, and it's connecting the worlds. Again, it's very much about balance, connecting the above and below. And shamanic gifts, I'm hearing you have shamanic gifts. You may have had past lives as a shaman, or in very sacred circles, as I was getting earlier about priestesses in ancient Egypt and Sumeria. Anyway, thank you very much for joining me here. I look forward to doing it again in the next reading. Have a blessed week. Take care. Bye for now.